if you'd like to know more about some building issues that pop up from time to time that can really, really ruin your day, keep watching this video. Hi there, it's Mark Harry from McCarthy Group, and today again I'm joined by CEO of McCarthy Group, Stephen McCarthy. Welcome,
Hi,
Stephen.
thank you, Mark.
Now, of course, this is episode 6 in our ongoing series. We've talked about apartments and the issues there. We've talked about some residential houses and some of the challenges there. And in fact, we have a whole library on our YouTube channel that talks in more detail about some of these problems. Now, problems. What are these problems, Stephen?
Yeah, well, Mark, it's interesting. You know, our intention is not to scare people away from buying or investing in real estate, but there are a number of issues that are coming up. And one of the, we've been getting a fair amount of emails from people coming in asking
And thank you
more
for
questions.
that too. Keep sending.
Yes, absolutely. Keep sending those. It's sort of one of the things that's coming out is like, how come you guys have so much material around these topics? And I thought that's a really good question. Like, how do we know all this?
How do you know all
stuff?
this stuff? Yeah.
Right?
Well, how do you know?
Well, how do we know? Well, Mark, there's this thing called textbook learning.
Yes.
And there's real life experience.
Real life experiences.
And all of these calamities, if I could call them that, these, the sunset clauses, unspecific specifications,
vague contracts,
all the stuff that's in our material. I suppose we've got to wear the badge and saying we have experienced virtually every single one of those things.
Yes.
Like what could go wrong, does go wrong at the worst possible time, we're the champions of.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. And it's from these learning experiences that we develop the model, we refine it, and we try then to deliver, obviously exactly what we're talking about, because we don't want people to stand on the same landmines that we have in the past.
Yeah. So I guess over 20, 21 years or so, close to a house a day almost, there's a lot of experience there that is really where the battle scars come from.
Yeah, well, look, I've certainly got a lot of passion around this space because it, back in the day, a long time ago, I was pretty naive about all this sort of stuff. You would think that, you builder or developer, they'd just go along and they build a house and all would be fine. It's horror that that's actually very rarely the case.
Right.
And there's a massive caveat there, like buyer beware. But what do you be aware of? And unless you've been down this space a few times before, I mean, I've certainly met people that have built houses before, and one of the things they say to me is, we'll never do it again.
Big problem if you're a...
I mean, they'll never do it again because the experience was so poor, and certainly what we have, looked at over the years is things can go wrong. So that's again why we as a group, and when we're putting our houses or investment properties together for our investors, we're extremely diligent on those contracts, on those terms. We spend a lot of time. We spend just as much time on the contract itself than we do the specifications and the design of the property.
Because of course we know it's such an expensive exercise to unravel and refix. Yeah. So this notion of measure twice, cut once goes through everything we're doing here.
Yeah. And so again, we are aligning ourselves with our building partners who are totally on the same page, proud of their products, agree to the various clauses that we have in our contract that protect our purchasers, and they too have pride of ownership. So I know, Mark, as you know, we have done quite a number of videos around all these subjects in the past. There's a great resource for our viewers.
So they can follow this link just right here. Yeah. And they can get to our YouTube channel. And some of the topics they're covering there, they're talking about...
there's a whole range. So specifications, what are you going to look at inside a building contract? Even
something as simple as how big is big or how small is small.
Yeah, how small is small. Exactly. I'll just stop on that one for a moment. So you look at an apartment and say it's 180 square metres, and you compare another apartment, it's 180 square metres, and that's what's written on the sales contract. But did you know, now, if we're butchers and we're selling a fillet steak, and you came in and says, I want 250 grams of fillet steak, put it on the scales. Now, if that scale is 2 grams out for the butcher. Yeah, because there's so much regulation around that. They cannot sell underweight goods.
Butcher gets butchered.
Yeah. Now, in an apartment, so when they say it's 180 square metres...
Or a house.
Yep. how do they measure that?
Yeah, where does the tape measure start?
Where does it start, right?
So what we're getting to is it inside the wall, outside the wall, on the eave, what they call under roof?
Well, if you think of it, if it's outside the wall, and the wall is, say, that thick, and there's two walls, right? So if you measure from the outside of the walls, both the outside, you're taking in this componentry here,
200 mils right there.
which is totally unusable. Multiply that by the entire rectangle area of the house. You got a lot of extra square meters, which
you can't actually use.
Well, you can't use, but technically it's correct.
Yeah.
So and I suppose the point about the butcher, there's no regulation.
So the butcher has all the regulation, but
the butcher's got all. You've got more protection
in construction.
And buying that $18 fillet steak than you do that, $700-800, $1,000 property. There's no consistency in the measurements across Australia.
So make it up as you go along is part of the course.
Well, if you've got a shonky builder or developer, he's got poetic license.
Yeah. So I guess the key thing is, please check out those videos. There's a whole range of them, a whole series of them. You're welcome to, of course, re-watch the previous 5 we've covered so far. We've spent a fair bit of effort going through those things. We'll be wrapping up this series next week. So keep watching. Thanks again. Please share with your friends and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This cut is fresh.